I wanted to ask you your opinion real quick on what transpired a couple weeks ago, with Nick Diaz no-showing a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu super fight against Braulio Estima. From what I understand, you were actually willing to step up on short notice, and take on Estima when Diaz didn't show up. Is that right?
Yes and no. There's half the story is correct. The other half is there's a bit of a miscommunication there. But yes, Diaz did not show up. Braulio made weight. I don't know what Diaz's argument. I've never met him, and nothing against him. I was actually looking forward to the fight. Of course, I don't think anyone expected Diaz to win. It would be the equivalent of Braulio Estima walking into the UFC and beating Nick Diaz in an MMA fight. I mean, possible, yeah, but highly unlikely. I mean, if you had to put $1 million on who's going to win that MMA fight, everyone would put it on Nick Diaz. Everyone. It's the same in jiu-jitsu. Like, I'll be blown away if Nick Diaz had survived the 10 minutes. Like, if he had not tapped, I would have been like, wow. But in any case, I give him just props to him for stepping up. But I don't know what. I haven't been following the case very closely, but I was there the whole time, and Braulio did make weight. He was 180. And the agreed weight was 185 originally. Braulio did make weight. I don't know if it was miscommunication or if Nick just changed his mind last minute, whatever. When it came to the fight, they're discussing, what are we going to do? Are we going to tell the public? Because they sold pay-per-views, and there were 5,000 people there to watch that fight. And they're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And the promoter, the organizer, is a Brazilian friend of mine. He doesn't speak very good English. And because we're such good friends, he asked me, Rob, would you do me the favor of going and explaining to the public what happened? And he asked me to translate. I'm like, bro, get someone else to do it. Like, no, bro, I prefer if you did. I'm like, whatever. Out of all people that speak English and Portuguese, he chose me. But for whatever reason, that led to misunderstanding. So when I walked up there up front, this was right when everyone was about to boo and everyone's upset and what the hell just happened, why isn't Nick Diaz here? I walk on the mat and I pick up the mic and I start translating what the promoter says. Well, the mic system was horrible. No one could understand a word of what I said. And on top of it, the guy on the internet, whoever was broadcasting it, said something about looks like Drysdale stepping up to replace Nick Diaz, which kind of looked like it. I mean, from an outside perspective, that's exactly what it looked like. And no, that wasn't the case. I'm good friends with Braulio. I mean, I would fight him. We fought before. I'd fight him again, but it wasn't the case. I think that if I had done that, that would have been a bit disrespectful with Braulio, to be honest, because it's not fair with him. I was a lot heavier than him. We're normally the same weight, but because he lost so much weight to fight Nick Diaz, I was a lot heavier. B, he didn't go there to fight me. So and to make it worse, someone interviewed him afterwards and said, look, Robert Drysdale just asked to replace Nick Diaz. Why don't you take that fight? And he's like, I'm not going to fight Robert Drysdale. This is not what I'm here to do. Which made him, some people you just backed out from grappling with Drysdale, which, I think his position was a fair one. If the same thing had happened to me, I probably said the same thing. This is not who I'm here to fight. This is not who I prepared for. So, once again, if it happens in the future, it happens. I think it'd be a great fight, but that wasn't the case that day.
That's interesting, man. Well, you mentioned, you don't really know Nick Diaz, you got nothing against him, but were you kind of offended a little bit, the fact that he kind of, flaked out in the event, it was for charity, and not only did he kind of, disrespect Estima and, in a way, the fans, and in a way, the charity, but I would think also the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu itself. You feel the same way, or was it just kind of maybe just misunderstanding, miscommunication?
Yeah, look, I think that, if, for example, if that had happened in the UFC, the consequences would have been far harsher, it was kind of I guess for some reason, grappling in that sense is less professional than MMA. There's not a commission, there are no contracts involved, there are no lawyers involved, but had this thing been taken more seriously, Nick could have been in serious trouble because, if he had done that in UFC, I'm pretty sure the consequences would have been, a lot different. But yeah, I look, I don't know what Nick Diaz's reasons are. I'm sure he has his reasons. I don't know what they are. But I feel bad for Braulio in any case because he flew all the way from London or Birmingham for this fight. And of course, you train for a grappling match. A lot of people think, it's just a grappling match. You're not getting punched in the face, but that doesn't mean you don't train hard. I'd much rather get punched in the face than run sprints on a treadmill. I think most fighters would agree. Training is hard, regardless of what your sport is. No one likes doing conditioning. No one likes dieting. No one likes, killing yourself with kettlebells and flipping tires and being on the mat and being injured. That's hard work. You know, when you go through all that and you're not getting paid, or if you are getting paid, it's not a lot. And then you fly from your home in Birmingham all the way to California, and you get there, and the guy doesn't show up to fight after you make weight. It's like, come on, man. You know, I understand Braulio being upset. Like, I would be furious too.